They took away the rabbit. They took him. And now there's 3. We are 5 for 6. No, wait. What are we on? Yeah, 5 for 6 of opening being different than the game. And Joel is carrying the rabbits and it's already winter, which is weird because 3 months later, it's winter. I said we were going into fall, but that was fall. We're in winter now, which is upsetting because it's supposed to be fall when we reach Tommy. And I know it doesn't matter, but it matters to me. Welcome to Spot the Difference, Season 1, Episode 6 of The Last of Us show versus the game. We are skipping all of this. Good God. Do we skip the university? Because that's in the fall. All right, hold on. We've skipped, like, we're technically doing this part, but in the winter over here. And so we miss the iconic scene. How dare they? Like, how dare they, truly? The one that I have absolutely pranked my chat with a few times. The beautiful bunny pops up from his hole. He's ready for the winter. Maybe even for Christmas. That iconic moment is gone. And Joel's carrying 3 bunnies instead. I don't know. I don't like it. I'm yelling. I'm hollering already. It's a big difference, even though it's not an important difference. It's an iconic difference. And I'm upset. I also just lied to all of you. That wasn't even Joel. Hold on. See the cute bunnies? That's not Joel. Another big change. I'm hollering. I just realized they took one of the most meaningful to Joel and Tommy's character moments away from a pivotal moment. And they also mirrored him with Ellie so that we're seeing Ellie be as dark as him, which is not something we want until season 2. Who's this little psycho? And she's over here just cursing at him and being all mean.
Got a map while you lost.
Must have missed all the street signs in the enormous fucking forest.
Holy.
This lady's just having a good time. But Joel comes out and does this thing where I'll show you in the game. It's a lot more meaningful. So here.
I need you to tell us where we are. Exactly where. And your answer better be the same as your wife's.
I like that lady, by the way. I think she's great.
You telling the truth?
Yeah.
Are you telling me the truth?
Yeah.
Whoever wrote her, good job. But this whole scene is problematic because when Ellie's taken, Joel gets to the bottom of it by using that trick right here.
The girl. Is she alive? What girl? I don't know no girl. The town! The town! Now you're gonna mark it on the map. And it better be the same exact spot your buddy points to.
And then, at the end of it, and this is one of my favorite lines.
I told you
Just the way he says it. The words aren't that important, but that's fine. I believe him.
That's all right. I believe him.
And you could hear me say it right before him because I love that line so much. That's all right. I believe him. And then he just takes care of that guy, right? And this, we have this cute older couple. And so I just said at the end of episode 5 that it seemed like we didn't have as many lighthearted moments. So that might be what this is trying to be. But that was not the utilization that you should have used that for, was to make a lighthearted moment, because that's a very dark potential tool that they've now put into a lighthearted moment. And Ellie mirroring him versus being more sweet and naive in this game. There's so many problematic things happening here. I feel like I'm going to holler this whole episode, this entire episode. The last couple have been like, all right, we're expanding the story. It's not that bad. Everything's kind of cool. That's not even true. I lied. I've been complaining the whole time, but this is going to be quite an episode. Get ready. They're doing telling instead of showing again. Wow, we're never making it out of this episode. And so instead of having encounters like we do in the game, which they could do in the show if they just showed us more zombies, budgeting, I get it, whatever, but could be nice, you know. Instead, we get this telling, which is the most boring way they could have possibly told us. They're just trying to create conflict for the audience to want to keep watching. A bit of an air of mystery, if you will, for the road ahead, instead of just, I don't know, showing us a zombie.
What's past the river?
Death.
The bodies they leave behind. So they're trying to make it scary without, I don't know, just showing us scary. It's fine. I'm not better, you're better. In case you want to know what I'm talking about, maybe you haven't played the game, here is a comparison for what we could have instead of telling. This is showing.
Damn it, spores.
So there you go. I hope you liked my doo-doo song. If you want to see more, make sure to check out my live playthroughs. I live stream on Twitch and multi-stream here as well. So anyway, that's the zombies that we could have. And instead we have this. A conversation. It's fine. I'm fine. Oh my goodness, it's a good thing I started out this episode hollering, because we are now at my least favorite change of the entire series so far. I just added so far because I thought it was my least favorite, and then I remembered that it gets worse. So, you ready? I feel like you're not ready.
What are the fireflies?
Making Joel weak. Why?
Joel, are you okay? Joel?
Why are we making Joel weak?
Shut up.
Holy shit, are you dying?
Oh, I forgot about this episode. I think I blocked it out of my memory. Oh goodness, every time I think about it. It's so bad. It's everything they do in this episode is wrong, except going to Jackson early. That was a good choice. But why would you make Joel weak? He had such a good characterization of the guy who doesn't necessarily want to play hero. He just wants to go home after everything. He's done. He's completed his mission. He sees no reason for him to continue. He doesn't want to feel anything for this surrogate daughter that's been basically given to him. He feels like he's fulfilled his role, and he's not taking it to save the world, like White Knight hero type of stuff. He's just a real person who's done. He doesn't see any reason to continue taking Ellie. But in this one, instead, you'll see what happens, and this is the foreshadowing to it, because they're making Joel weak instead of him basically being too strong. He's scared of what he might do in the name of protecting Ellie. He's scared of what road that's going to take him on emotionally. He's scared to feel again. But this is instead making him old and weak is basically what it goes with. It's like, what? Why? We have enough of that in media. Who told you guys that making men weak was a good story? All right. Because in small doses, sure, anything can be a good story. But in everything, all media, all the time, not just men, but older people, making older people incapable is also something that just doesn't make any sense and is an overdone trope, stereotype, and truly an ism, if you will. Because why are we ageisming him? Let him be strong as an older dude. He's very capable in the game. Hollerin'. This is the Hollerin' episode. I honestly thought he was sick the first time that I saw this. I thought I was confused and a little bit excited to see if they were doing something kind of different and what that might mean. He's not sick. They're just making him weak. So to clarify there for a moment. They're making Ellie less capable too. We saw that again in the last episode where she made the mistake of not waking Joel when she was falling asleep after she said she'd stay awake with Henry or Sam. Here,
Should have stolen 2 rabbits.
We can get our own rabbits.
you gonna teach me how?
You gonna teach me how?
Now, in the game, she's very capable. Look, she's standing at a deer she caught. The first thing that we do as Ellie is catch this deer. After, in the cutscene, we catch this rabbit. Look at her. A capable Ellie doing capable Ellie things. I really should have put a rest counter through this series because they rest a lot. And I get that they're showing more reality or whatever, but it's a lot. It's a lot of resting. And again, feels like a budget thing. Also feels like a really boring thing. I want to like this because oftentimes I'll make jokes when I'm watching stuff that do they ever sleep? Do they ever eat? Do they ever pee? But we don't actually need those moments because they're boring. They're having a conversation here, which I think is supposed to be reminiscent of bonding, but instead it comes off as like putting on a show for each other once again and for the audience. And I just don't buy it. And I feel like I just want to say one positive thing about this episode. We'll get to Jackson soon, and then I'll have a positive thing to say, I promise. But like, the bonding is Joel foreshadowing the plot once again, rather than actually saying anything of genuine relevance to each other as characters. He's talking about how she asked what he would do if he could do anything, and he said he would have a ranch settle down with quiet sheep, you know, joking technically that she's not quiet and they do as they're told. And that's supposed to be like a cute bonding moment, but instead it's just them constantly kind of jabbing at each other. And jabbing can be like bonding, but if it's all you ever do, that's kind of counterproductive to building a relationship, especially for an audience and in a story where they've been pretty mean to each other. So anyway, he basically outlined something that's going to happen in 2, and it's, again, a plot for... They do a lot of foreshadowing in this, which I normally like little pieces of foreshadowing here and there, but it's laid on real heavy, and everything in the show just feels really heavy-handed all the time, other than zombies. They were just talking about how Ellie admitted to Joel that she tried to save Sam by rubbing her blood onto his bite. They don't have that moment in the game, but there is a moment eventually in the series where they touch on that she can't infect people and she can't save people based on just like exchanging those types of things versus, you know, an actual vaccine that may or may not work. But that testing, I think, was really important. And that is now number 5, as much as I don't necessarily need that particular scene with her and Sam because it had its flaws. I do think that having some sort of testing that we visually see to know that she can't do those things, can't hurt or help other people with her immunity by just these things. I don't want to say it in like a gross way. So I'm just basically, we can infer that she can't later in the series, but it's cool to have seen that. But it also goes to show how heavy-handed this show is. The game is here in terms of trusting the audience to have a brain, at least one brain cell, versus the show doesn't trust the audience to have even a single brain cell. And I think sometimes it's nice to have certain things outlined. Like there's one thing in 2 that really upsets me and doesn't upset other people necessarily, but it felt like a flaw that there wasn't foreshadowing at all to something that was pretty pivotal, the most pivotal, if you will. And so some foreshadowing is nice. Some occasional handedness is nice. Not necessarily heavy, but maybe like a light handedness. And like just a little bit of showing us some certainty here and there is nice because we like to know things. And there's a lot of things we never have clarity on. So when you can provide that in a story, it sometimes is like a catharsis for people, for me in particular. Because I'm curious. If you didn't know, my name's Mad Curious. This is my channel. You should like and subscribe while we're here. It feels like there might be like a little happier medium, and they've pendulum swung from trusting the audience to the audience isn't going to understand unless we feed them like a little 5-year-old baby. So that's the show. I'm tired. We're only a quarter of the way in. We're never making it through this episode. I might have to do this in 2 batches. Everything about this episode is different and not in a good way so far. Jackson is coming. I will have compliments, I promise. There's a lot more of this treating Ellie like a child in the show versus the game. And she is a child, but I just watched this real quick.
Wake me up next time.
So she has just explained how she woke up, Joel was asleep, and so she took second watch. Is very ornery about it. Mean, never nice. She has no kind redeeming qualities, literally ever. Never cracks a genuine smile. It's only a psychotic smile. I still don't really know what they're going for here with her, but she's not a person I would want to save. I'd choose humanity at this point. In the game at this point, I want to just show like maybe even 2 seconds of something around this time in the game. Here's a great moment. Okay, so that moment where they're arguing about treating her like a kid, that's just not really a theme in here. She is a kid, but once he gives her the gun, that's pretty much over. It's like, okay, I trust you now. We trust each other. We're going to get through this together. And while he's still a father figure to her for sure, he like takes the kid gloves off a little bit and allows her to be a teenager. And of course, you're going to grow up fast in an apocalypse. So I think that's fair for this scenario. I think what they're trying to do with it in the show is to make the audience feel protective of her because Joel is protective of her, but that's instead of making her a likable character. It's like, again, heavy-handedness. They're like, well, if Joel wants to protect her, audience member, you have to want to protect her, obviously, instead of allowing you to decide for yourself. So watch this. We go across right here.
Hey, be careful crossing that thing.
I will.
Teamwork.
See? Look how cute that was. That was a cute moment all around. Hey, be careful crossing that thing. I will. Teamwork. Gives her a high five. We don't have cute moments like that. This is where we are right now in the show. And instead we have, and again, they did winter instead of fall. So that's why it looks different. This is right before we get to the dam with Tommy. And we instead go to Jackson instead of the dam. They're a little bit further along into, we just meet them at kind of a different area, but they are technically working on the dam for Jackson. Once we find them, summary, they could have made her lovable. Instead, they tried to force us to see her from Joel's perspective that they very heavy-handedly wrote. So, yay.
Yes, sir.
Just a quick one here, and I don't really have a complaint about it. But again, it shows how much they refuse to make any lighthearted moments in the show. They just want to keep the conflict up, which is fair because they want people to keep watching. And in the game, they create conflict through gameplay. I know. We've been over this in the series so far. Nonetheless, it feels like we never get to breathe in the show. And even the lighthearted moments feel too prepped. Nonetheless, this is not any of those things. It is where instead of having a happy reunion with his brother right off the bat, we have this whole moment where there's conflict and they're questioning them and you're like, oh, what's going to happen? And we don't recognize her because she looks completely different than she does in the game. I don't really mind her change at all. I actually mind their change so much more. They don't look anything like their characters. I've mentioned that. I haven't mentioned that in a while, but I don't like that they don't look anything like their characters. And some people say, oh, Pedro looks like Joel. No, he doesn't. You're lying. He doesn't. Not my Joel. Not my Ellie. Nonetheless, I don't particularly care that Maria looks different because, again, she's not like a super main character. And I still think that her characterization matches the game characterization enough. Again, I could almost forgive them not looking like their characters if they acted like their characters. I have been saying that for episodes, so if I'm saying that fast, please forgive. But if you are wondering why I'm saying it so fast and so exhaustedly, you can watch the other episodes, and you should like and subscribe while you're there. So in the game, we meet Tommy right here, and it is much more peaceful.
Our way through.
Through to where?
They're all right.
But you know these people?
Know him. He's my goddamn brother.
Tommy.
We ain't looking for any trouble. We're just passing through. Drop the gun.
How you doing, baby brother?
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Let me look at you. You get fucking old.
Easy. It's going to happen to you, too.
This is Maria. Be nice to her. She sort of runs things around here.
Ma'am, thanks for not blowing my head off.
Would have been embarrassing, considering you're my brother-in-law.
We all gotta get wrangled up at some point.
Ellie, right?
Yeah.
What brings you through here?
Now her.
It's kind of a long story.
Why don't we bring him inside?
You hungry?
So that's the cute little entrance that we get instead of.
How about you shut the fuck up?
Guess what? You finally get a happy Mad who is happy with the change. And this is now number 6 change, if I'm keeping track correctly, that I would put in the game because the beauty of Jackson. This is a beautiful change. We don't see Jackson in the game. We merely see the dam. And the dam was cool, to be honest. I can't complain about the dam. I think the whole view of the dam and the way... I feel like this video is going to get flagged if I say that word a few more times because they're going to think I'm cursing. So the hydroelectric plant is where we go. And see, it's pretty. And it's fall. And it's cool to see them like getting it up and running so that Jackson will work. And they have this cute moment with the picture of Sarah, which we don't have in the show. So Tommy gives him this picture that he got when he went back to Texas for a minute. This is like 2 of 4 times that we see this picture in the series. So it's a nice little through line through the games, and we don't have that in the show, which is really unfortunate. They don't have that cute moment together. But this is supposed to be a happy little segment, Jackson. And so while we have the hydroelectric plant, we get Jackson in the show. And I think I probably squealed in excitement when we got Jackson in the show, because we didn't get Jackson until game 2. And we only had it at the very beginning of game 2. And I love Jackson. And I am glad that we spend like a tiny bit more time in it because of this. I would do a whole like cute Animal Crossing level DLC with them just hanging out in Jackson, to be honest. It's beautiful. So Happy Matt is happy for all of 5 seconds. You did good, show. You did something I like. They actually even did a little Easter egg here. That's a moment you can see. They actually have a few things here that you can see in the game, because I actually have another video on my Ambience channel. This is the sponsor segment for my own stuff. You should go check it all out if you're liking this video. I have an Ambience channel where I do some walk with me tours, and I do basically finding the best views in any game. See how they were sliding down the hill there? Do you guys want to come with me actually and see it? Hold on. That was a little Easter egg nod to this right here. See them playing in the snow, kids sliding down that hill. So a little nod to game 2. Cute, right? Okay, I'm gonna be honest. As much as I don't really like the way that they portray Joel and Tommy, I don't like how Joel and Tommy look in the show. I do like this cute moment with them a lot. It like made me emotional for a second, so just watch it with me. Look at his expression when he first sees his brother after however long. I think so many years in the game I don't know about in the show. I know that they lost contact. So this is a little less impactful in the show because it sounds like they had communication, but in the game they didn't. So that was actually like a much more immense meeting. Nonetheless, they act this really beautifully.
Tommy!
And it's just a sweet moment. So like that right there, them seeing each other, cute, right? I actually really like this moment. Told you I was gonna have positivity when we got to Jackson. Real cute. They look nothing like my Joel and my Tommy. Not my Joel and my Tommy, but cute moment. It's positive. We'll take the win. Okay, so there is actually one earned moment from earlier, because remember how I said the Tommy thing doesn't really pay off? The fact that that's like a whole catalyst for Joel rather than just doing his job, trying to stay alive, trying to survive, trying to thrive. This is actually a nice little payoff. I was hoping that they would pay it off in some way. And this is like a nice little joking moment between them. Watch.
What the fuck you doing here?
I came here to save you.
I came here to save you, and he's clearly like in this civilization nicer than anything he's ever seen since the start of this apocalypse. That's a good little payoff. I will take it for another win. Another win. We'll take it. Does it necessarily need to be in the game? No, it's just a cute little joke. So I won't count it on there, but I like it. Okay, so since they don't go to Jackson in the game, and so all of this whole segment's going to be different, but there are lots of segments they just place in Jackson instead of the dam, so there's still going to be a few things for us to go through here. One of them being that Dina is obviously not in game 1, and if you haven't played game 2, again, not going to spoil anything, but this, I think, is supposed to be her. A lot of us surmise that it's supposed to be her, but the actress of Dina in season 2 is not this actress, so we could also just assume it's a random curious kid, but I think this is what it was alluding to before they really had her cast in the role. So I think this was just another cute little nod to the games. What?
What's wrong?
So yeah, there was a lot of talks on the internet at this moment when this happened in the show, and the game did not have that. So a nice little nod Easter egg surprise. Okay, there's a couple things here that I really like that I would actually, let's put this as number 7, that I would add to the game. We're doing good. This is both my most hated and most beloved episode so far, probably. So, you know, at least it's not boring like some of the others. A bad reputation doesn't mean you're bad. So that was something Tommy just said in reference to them leaving out dead bodies and people being scared of them, which we saw from the older couple at the beginning of the game. And that makes more sense as to why they added them in at all. So I'm a little less upset by that change now. I think it leads to this moment, and it's an earned moment. And also is, while they're telling you something, they're not telling you directly what to place this to. So a bad reputation doesn't mean you're bad, can be placed all around through this series. And you can see it in all of the moments where they've been expanding the side stories. So I think that's a really earned line in the show that the game didn't necessarily have as heavily until game 2, especially. So I think this is a good one. I think this is a good little theme that they added. Would be okay with that being in the game 2. Would like that.
Not always, at least.
That look, terrifying look. That is the look of a sister-in-law, the wife of your brother, whatever. That's the look of a family member married in that you do not want to get. She has heard some stories of Joel, and that's a good showing versus telling. We've been talking about that a lot. That's a good little moment because if you don't know what's going on, this is the type of foreshadowing I like more so than just nonstop words being fed to you on a silver spoon. Beautifully done. So that's 2. And then 3 of the moments that I like right here is actually finally the first cute moment between Joel and Ellie for the entire series. We made it in episode 6 of 9. I told you eventually I hoped that they did something to make them redeemable.
Oh shit. Congrats.
This might be the only one, but hey, we got one.
Joel, say congrats.
So awkward, funny, shows the way that they kind of understand each other, at least that Ellie understands Joel. So that's number 3. All positive things. 3 positive things in one tiny section of the show. Imagine that. We did it. We're not hollering. This is a weird moment, and it has nothing to do with anything that happens in the game that I can think of. They set them up in a house in Jackson. Tommy says, it's not that great, but it could be worse. And Ellie goes, trust me, we have been. Then Joel acts all offended. He's like, we've been fine. Well, he said it in his very monotone voice, but not the game Joel. The game Joel has expression in his voice versus Pedro Pascal. Joel literally doesn't have a single shred of emotion in his voice ever. So anyway, he seems really offended by it. Don't know why they did that except to kind of show his overall weakness. He's not this type of prideful in the game. It's just a strange choice. I don't know what it was about. We'll see if it carries a thread anywhere. Just a quick Easter egg, Tipsy Bison is exactly the name of the bar saloon that they have in 2. Once again, you can see it in my Jackson video on my Ambience channel. So, yep, they did good with carrying through on the Jackson details. See, there you go. This is my video. Ellie takes you to relaxing views and a tour of Jackson. Lost Us Part 2. Tipsy Bison, there she is. I forgot about this moment. Joel lies to Tommy about who Ellie is and lies about Tess. This doesn't happen in the game. I don't really know what this is supposed to accomplish, to be honest. I guess just to create a little conflict to keep you watching. Ooh, okay. Remember how we were just having a nice, happy time in Jackson? Nice, happy time is over because they are demolishing this scene between Joel and Tommy. They're both doing this quiet, monotone conversation that has absolutely no emotion whatsoever, and the lines are not nearly as meaningful. We survived the only way we knew how. We survived because of me.
Survived the only way we knew how.
You survived because of me.
It wasn't worth it.
I bring you the cure from mankind, and you want to play the pissy little brother.
I am upset. We're hollering again. Okay. And they also say,
Just because life stopped for you doesn't mean it has to stop for me.
and so he's gunning for him, right? Versus here in the game, they had this sweet moment where he gives him the picture.
It's a little faded, but it still looks pretty good.
He was trying to lift him up, which is something that helps his character a little bit. We see that with how he finally connects with Ellie towards the end, because Ellie takes this picture and gives it to him at a moment that we'll see in the future here in the very last episode, where I'll mention it again because it's a pivotal moment. Oh my gosh, I'm showing you everything. It's a pivotal moment here towards the end where we see her give that picture, and that's kind of the solidification of her being kind of a surrogate daughter for him that he cares about in this way that he didn't think he would be able to open his heart to again. Instead of that framing, they're doing a very, they already had a reason for the conflict here with Joel arguing with Tommy about helping him.
I bring you the cure from mankind, and you want to play the pissy little brother.
Because he just doesn't want to be part of the trope. which he just wants to be human. He wants to move on from this. It's a very organic thing that doesn't need these black and white lines. Whereas here, they're trying to create conflict rather than allowing them to have this really sweet moment that creates a better through line to the end. It's just like they're creating conflict for the sake of it. And I hate it. And here we go again with making Joel super weak for no reason. I can't. I have nothing more to say than other than I hate this. And Joel is one of those people you really look up to, but also see a lot of flaws in the game. And here you just see a weak man. I don't. Why? I hate it. Worst possible change they ever could have done. Hollywood. This is just Hollywood. It just has Hollywood written all over it, and it's disgusting. Now, there's a small snippet here that I actually like in spite of me hating most of this moment. And they could have done it without this weird... I love this. I love that he pictures her there, because they could have done it more instead where maybe he and Tommy had that sweet moment with the picture, or even something else. This could be before the picture even, and they could have that sweet moment and maybe have reference to something, then sees her in this place where he's finally felt peace for the first time. That would be another way to incorporate this idea of him really trying to heal, but also never being able to heal from that, and carrying that with him, and carrying his daughter with him, and always remembering her, mourning that loss, and trying to keep her alive in his memory. That would all be a beautiful moment here. And it would be a more beautiful moment if they weren't trying to portray him as this weak man that can't even stand up on his own. It's just weird. They're making grief so one note and selling it as a weakness. They're packaging it as a weakness instead of making it something that people can be so strong in spite of. Sometimes in a way because of. Instead, they're using it as a trope. This could have been such a cute moment. And there still is a cute moment within this disgusting moment. Hollywood, stop it. Just stop it. They spend an odd amount of time going through this period product on the show, and I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know what it has to do with anything. I guess they're trying to show the realistic struggle of women in an apocalyptic world. I just am not really, it doesn't connect with anything. And so it seems like they're just throwing it in there to, I'm going to say it. This is an excuse for people to lob woke at it. Okay, it is. I feel like one mention of it is cool, where you can be and they heavy-handed the tampon situation too earlier. It could have been a quick nod, but it was a whole huge moment that was mentioned twice, and now they're having this, and you can literally read the pamphlet. They spend so long on it. So it just feels like they're heavy-handing look women, and I do think that we should look women. I'm woman. But when we heavy-hand it this much, and again, I don't know if I said it in this episode or the last, but so if it's new to you, the spectrum between trusting that your audience has brain cells and feeding them because you think that they don't, this is on the feeding them because you think that they don't. And this could have been a quick thing. Stop with the heavy-handedness, Hollywood. This is why people call everything you do woke, because you're doing from the scene of Joel being weak to the scene of spending a million years on a period product. There are a lot of people who are going to see this and say, oh, you inserted this on purpose. And you kind of did, because it doesn't have any connection to the rest of the story. I'm not a fan of this, to be honest, as much as I probably should be, because I think probably the first time I saw this, I was probably oh, that's cool. They're showing stuff for the ladies. And so there is there's, as a lady, I have a little bittersweet two-pronged thought to this, which is oh, I'm included. That's cool. But also it's heavy. It's too heavy-handed. There's an art to inclusion, and they could have made it funny. They could have made it, if this were a male product or something, right? I feel like they would have inserted some comedic effect here or something meaningful to the story, but they didn't. And you can tell that that's because they just wanted you to say, yay, women. And as much as yay, women, we have brain cells, Hollywood. They gave Maria a lot of good lines that didn't exist in the game. So after screaming for a few minutes and negativity, we have another positive moment. I like this conversation between her and Ellie that didn't happen in the game. You did see the lightest cute moment between her and Ellie. It was very short in the game. I'm glad they expanded it here and had a good moment of bonding, being concerned about Joel as a person and how he used to kill people, which is used to kill innocent ones. And so that's more of the Joel that we know that they could have leaned on for conflict here. And instead they leaned on him being weak. Very strange. So this conversation is really good. I'm going to do it. You ready? This is number 8. Number 8 thing I would add to the game. I like it a lot. Maria's a win. All of her lines are a win. Everything about her in the show is big win. I like it. I just realized I didn't even tell you what it is. Said the only people who can betray us are the ones we trust. She's kind of testing Ellie, having a really good heart-to-heart with her about who she should trust, how she should trust. I think this is to lead into kind of the final countdown of where Ellie and Joel's relationship needs to get to for his final act in the final episode. They're putting down some pieces, at least. While they may be slightly different, at least there's a couple. Hi, I love this moment. This is just Happy Jackson giving us a nice moment. Remember when I said they don't give us any, breath in this series? Finally, a happy moment. I told you I was going to have happy moments in Jackson. Here's another.
The movies.
Ellie, Garfield, I'm moving into the other room.
Look at that. They have a movie theater. I just think that's cute. It's a nice, cute addition. It's the breath we need in the middle of all the either angst, basically angst. The whole show is just angst rather than zombies. So nice little breather. And I should mention, yes, of course, it's not in the game because Jackson's not in the game. So it's a replacement happy breather for the happy breathers we don't have in the show. Okay, I have both a positive and a negative here. The negative is we're getting a lot of telling. Joel does not need to retell the story we already know right here, and he does. It's super weird. But I absolutely love Jackson. Look how pretty it is. And I'll play it for a second so you can hear and see the ambiance of it. Though Joel's going to be telling a story you already know on top of it.
It was Marlene.
But it's beautiful.
She hired us to smuggle her to some fireflies.
It's just,
It went bad.
would love to have time in Jackson. I mean, I'm glad that they gave us this time because wow, just wow. So very big positive here.
She made me swear to take the kid.
There's just no reason for us to be hearing this. Normally you would do like a cut from that and then you'd move on because we as the audience already know the story. It's super weird to have him retelling it. I feel like they're just filling time, but I like this. They could have filled it with something else so that we could have this beautiful moment of being in the snow with the fire and seeing Jackson this way. But yeah, anyway, it's weird directing decisions all around, but hey, I'll take what I can get. Okay, so this next part is really weird because he's basically saying that he's weak because he made one singular mistake. He's like, I'm too old and too blind now to be able to do anything. And he's like, ageism making himself.
Because I was too slow and too fucking deaf to hear him coming.
Which doesn't make any sense because he made one singular mistake. Everybody does, even people as skilled as he is. And that's how it goes in the game. It's just something happens, she saves him. That's how it goes when you're having this much constant fighting conflict. Nobody is perfect. So I don't really understand why they're using this to justify basically ageism.
She saved my life there from another kid.
Because listen to this.
5 years ago, I would have destroyed him.
I couldn't even think about what they meant there. When they were talking about this, I was like, did they mean Sam? Like, I was confused as to what they were even talking about. And they meant the moment that she didn't kill the kid. It's super weird.
But she had to shoot him to save me.
They're making him weak. There's no reason for it. He could have just chalked that up to a mistake. And you're telling me that in 20 years, he's never seen any kids have to grow up a little fast in this apocalyptic universe. And I know he's projecting wanting to protect his own daughter, but not only does it not make sense, but it destroys Joel's character from everything that we know and love about him in the game. They just wanted to create this black and white narrative, and it is actually my least favorite part of this series because of what it leads to in the final episode. It's basically a continuation of this terrible, terrible writing decision. If you think I'm making up this whole narrative about him being weak and you're like, you're just exaggerating.
And all I did was stand there. I couldn't move.
You're just kind of taking it out of context.
You think I can still handle things, but...
Hear it from the horse's mouth.
I'm not who I was.
Mm-hmm.
You're younger than me. You're still strong. You said it yourself.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
Stop with the bullshit.
And look at the tears in his eyes. What is this? I'm so tired. Hollywood, why? You didn't have to rewrite this. I'm not who I was. I'm weak. We had just a man who was doing his best, and sometimes the best was being a villain, who didn't want to be a hero and didn't want to get close to anyone and was reserved in a different kind of way where he bows out when he can.
Tommy knows this area.
Oh, fuck that.
Well, I'm sorry. I trust him better than I trust myself.
You're younger than me. You're still strong. You said it yourself.
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of? That I'm gonna end up like Sam?
It's just weird. And I know it's because they wanted to make clear black and white lines. If you've been following this whole series, I've said like crispy edges. They're trying to make it where it's just clear lines, clarity. You know exactly what everybody's motivations are at any given time. So this was a simpler way of doing that. It's a simple cop-out is what it is. It's just bad writing. It's writing because you're acting like the audience isn't smart enough to figure out what you're putting down based on the game writing. It's sad, really. I'm surprised they didn't take this moment of Tommy walking up to Maria and retell us the story one more time. Monotone Pedro strikes again. You'll be way better off with Tommy.
You'll be way better off with Tommy.
Now you'll be doing even better with Tommy.
You'll be way better off with Tommy.
Imagine him showing even a speck of emotion. So this is one of the most iconic scenes in the entire series franchise. Even he and Ellie get into it about him taking her the rest of the way. All of the line delivery here is just every bit of dialogue is off.
I'm not her, you know.
I'm not her, you know.
I don't know why they made her so unlikable. Save humanity at this point.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel.
Oh, they took out the line, didn't they? You're treading on some mighty thin ice here.
Don't say another word.
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
Don't say another word.
But I have lost people too.
But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
You have no idea what loss is.
It's night and day difference. What were they thinking with the directing and acting of this scene? It's the same exact lines, and it is just baffling what they did to this scene. The emotion behind it is shredded. Shredded.
Everybody I have cared for
Everyone I have cared for
has either died or left me.
has either died or left me.
They did so good with this scene. The animation of all the emotion on her face, even. That just like wanting to be loved, wanting to have connection, not ever wanting to be alone. It's all right there. God, I'm getting emotional just replaying this scene that I've seen a million times. And you don't have that here. You only have disgust and anger. It's not even close. And it just shows how bad this show is in comparison to the game. If I could only show one thing that compared these two and said, play the game instead, it would be this right here. Ooh, wait, I didn't realize they skipped the entire... Sorry, I'm having a moment. They skipped the entire... I don't even know how to put this into words. There's an entire scene that's pivotal to why Joel pivots, to why he changes his mind on this issue. Instead, we get him thinking about his daughter. It doesn't really serve to show us why he's changed his mind. He's just here, and he's like, I was going to steal a horse.
You deserve a choice. I still think you'd be better off with Tommy.
Let's go.
Okay, that's it. But this is right after the scene that we just saw together. The only thing in between is him thinking about his daughter. Whereas here we have this whole shootout. So she runs away, and then we have this conversation. We take care of these people in the house, and then we ride off to go see her off with Tommy up here. And so that shootout where we protected her right after having to find her in the first place, that's what changed our minds. It was protecting her that one last time with Tommy and feeling everything that we'd been going through for the last few months. I think that they had to replace, I guess, an encounter, because gameplay puts you in that driver's seat again, which makes it feel like, okay, yes, we did all this. All right, yeah, we should be taking her. I've changed my mind. Versus they had to replace that with something. I don't hate that they replaced it with a moment with Sarah.
Go bighorns. Ellie, get off your horse. Give it on back to Tommy. I'm gonna hang on to this fella. That's all right with you.
Like, look at how cute that is. Just the way he says things is so cute. I'm gonna hang on to this fella if that's all right with you. He just a Southern gentleman. Everything about that versus this.
I still think you'd be better off with Tommy.
Let's go.
Ellie, get off your horse. Give it on back to Tommy.
Let's go.
Is there even a comparison? Okay, so this is going to be a weird one. I haven't mentioned it this entire series, but I notice it every single time it happens. Also, my light is like the crazy golden hour light that I think they have right there. The one that's like shining on my face. Anyway, I notice when the music is in a different place. I don't know if anyone else does. Obviously, that's going to happen in this because the story is stretched out in different ways. And, we would have it kind of more isolated to cutscenes, that sort of thing. But I notice when the songs are in a different place and they're used differently. And this is the song that's at the very end of the game. And it's being used here in the show kind of, 2/3 or 6 of 9? Yeah. So, and that's including actually the DLC episode. So really we're a little more than 2/3. So they play it here and then it goes into them talking, and it feels weird because it's, if you've heard the end as many times as I have, she goes, okay. And then it just like the music kind of trails off there into the credits and there's no talking over it. You need that moment of just quiet. And so them talking over that part, it's such a necessary quiet, feels weird. It's like I've noticed I probably shouldn't say misuse of songs, but the new use of songs. This one feels like a misuse. And it might have been the composer himself putting it here. I don't know. I could be saying things that I shouldn't, but this is still my opinion. It feels wrong.
So the way they ran stuff in Jackson.
Feels weird. Don't like it. Okay, so just like the little slow-mo that they had in, I think, the last episode where right before the bloater, you see the guy who's the voice actor for Tommy, look at the bloater, there's like a slow-mo. They do a cheesy edit here where they do a montage. I wouldn't have expected that in this. I guess I can't super hate it because sometimes montages are fun, but this one is just basically the bonding montage. So here, just a little brief thing of it.
Okay, so if you mess up
So they're talking about football.
your fourth down and you give the ball to the other team.
They had another rest time.
Right. It's called a turnover.
So it's just showing them making progress. Remember when I said that they haven't bonded enough for us to feel like we're going to care by the end episode? This is to try to combat that, clearly. Is it working? Because he's just giving her random information about the world before? No, it is not. That is not what happens in the game, where we have all those cute little moments I told you about.
Hey, be careful crossing that thing.
I will.
Teamwork. Makes the dream work.
Okay, so 2 thoughts right here. This is right after where we were. They're still on the journey to the university. So they are still going to the university. I think I said something earlier about like being nervous that they weren't because it was technically in fall, but it's just the season out of order, not the actual. Nonetheless, right here, they have a moment where they're trying to make it a little bit cute because she goes, the contractor. And she's like trying to kind of tease him. But it's like they don't ever have the more genuine moments like we just saw. And they're trying, though. You can see them trying. It's like a try hard at this point. The other thing about this is there's like so much foreshadowing to Joel getting hurt here. You know, the whole, oh, I'm not capable. Oh, I needed her to save me, which the next episode, we really don't even see her save him is the funny part of that. We see it in the game DLC, but they only show really the flashback Maul stuff rather than the present day Maul stuff where she fixes him up. We don't see much of that at all in the next episode. So very strange that they foreshadowed this so much that like she's going to have to take care of him and he doesn't feel like he can do much of anything. And then they don't even show that. The storytelling here is just really weird. The payoffs are weird. Nonetheless, they show more foreshadowing here for him getting hurt. I feel like they've been doing that for the entire series. Whereas once again, they're just heavy-handing it. Foreshadowing's fun, but when you do it this much, you lose the organic nature of things happening because things are just going to happen in a story. But then, right? Like, that's just what happens in life. And instead, it's like they're spelling it out for you so clearly. Like, oh, of course, he's going to get hurt because we've gone over it 9 million times that he thinks he's going to get hurt. It's just weird. It's just let it just let the story happen. He's in a dangerous world. We don't need that spelled out for us. And a part of that might just be because they haven't had, the encounters of the game, so we haven't felt as much danger, so they have to keep telling us, hey, there's danger, 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 danger. Show, don't tell. Show us a zombie. Yeah. And I know this is like people danger. Show us anything. Stop telling us. Here, I yelled and I didn't even show you.
So afraid of.
Still time to find out.
Oh, here's a plot difference I didn't realize. Instead of finding the tape recorder and deceased scientist right here.
Got me some time to reflect. Been years that felt like
Going to be reborn and find a new family-friendly shamer who's actually welcome.
I'm not gonna do this anymore.
So then they find out everybody else went to the hospital and that there's very little hope for anything. Versus here, they don't have any context whatsoever. They just figure out where they're going, but zero context.
That's where they went.
Maybe getting ahead of the weather. Better facilities.
And it goes straight into the fight sequence. So very odd choice there. I mean, this is a jam-packed episode, to be fair. They do both Jackson and the university in one episode. So I can't really blame them for cutting this really short, but you'd think they would have given them something here, because now they're just going with a lot more of an air of mystery here. Maybe they were going for that intentionally, so it might not be all bad. And I have been saying that they need to stop spelling everything out, but it's not that they use this to spell it out, though. Here, it's to create a lot of doubt that anything's ever going to work, which they've done in the show already. So I guess it's fine. This is actually a fine change. I've talked myself into it. They built up all this fear of him being weak just for them to show how strong he is 5 seconds later. So why build that up, aside from just wanting to say, oh, weak dude? It just doesn't make any sense. Especially since the way he gets hurt here is clearly just an accident mistake. It's not because he's weak. It's not like he was overpowered. So he took him down and somehow in the process impaled, which he does here. But he actually did kind of a little bit, well, he got surprised as much as he did overpowered. That's a little of both. The game is playing that so much. Here, I'm talking over it, so I'll just do it silently. But see, he's a bit overpowered here, right? We're trying to get him. We're trying to get out of this. So he's actually shown as not being able to handle this guy more in the game than in the show. So not to say he is weak, because he handles a lot. It's just things happen, right? I mean, he's fighting everyone all the time. Of course, eventually it's going to get to him. I mean, that's just, it made sense organically that happened, because it's luck and eventually it's going to run out, right? It makes sense. They didn't need to build up that he's weak, because he was really strong in this scenario. It's super strange. I thought I was about done, and then I just laughed right here because I said impaled and I lied. It's not impaled like he was there. You guys saw this, right? I need you, before we see that, look at this sticking all the way through him, okay? Now, see, this is why I laughed at this. I know it would hurt. Listen, I would be a little baby about this, but it was funny in context. It's so little in comparison. I'm sorry. I would be, like, obviously that's terrible. Like, it's no joke. Injury, but compared to this injury, it looks like nothing. You know what I mean? So I laughed. All right. We've made it to the end. This part is roughly the same as the show, or as the game. We made it. This was a jam-packed episode. This is probably the longest one yet, because oh my goodness, did they have a lot of changes. And most of them bad. I'm mad curious. This has been Last of Us Season 1, Episode 6. If you want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.